Hey friends, welcome back to Break the Box Podcast. I'm your girl Kalina. Listen, around here, we keep it real, we keep it bold, and we make Jesus make sense. So grab your coffee and come hang out. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Break the Box Podcast. Listen, we are in for our second week on our countdown to 100. I told you I was going to have some new guests, but I also was going to bring back just some fan favorites, some people that maybe even left off in some conversations where we didn't get to quite get into all of it. And so I'm super excited today to have back a really close friend of mine who I get to do a lot of life with. And so I might mess this up, but I'm going to do my best. Will you welcome back Monique Armendariz? Did I kill it or was it close enough? I'm the
You're
white
close
girl.
enough. You're close enough. Absolutely.
Okay, say your name the way
Ferreira,
it's perfect.
it's Ferreira Armendariz.
Ferreira Armendariz. But
Yes, ma'am.
Armendariz is your new married name, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
We
girl.
actually just celebrated our 6-year wedding anniversary on Saturday.
Isn't that
So
wild to say that out
yes,
loud?
yes.
That's
So
so cool.
I am now Miss, well, have been for the past 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Andrew Lee Armendariz.
Armendariz. That's such a cool name too. And
Hi,
this is
love.
I mean, you do have kind of some like difficult last names to pronounce, but they're beautiful,
I
right?
do.
But it's also I think I love that you wear it proudly.
I
If
do.
you missed the first conversation with Monique, you got to go back and listen. She came out of just such a different lifestyle to even be married today and to be married to a man and to be saying like, "Hey, I just celebrated an anniversary," is a testimony in itself, right?
It
Um,
is.
does it feel weird or do you feel like it's settled in finally, like this is who I am? Or are there still mornings you're like, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing?
Honestly, I think that there's still some mornings,
Sure.
I'm gonna be very honest, that still says like, wow, I can't believe I'm married.
Hmm.
When you go through those trials and tribulations and the
Yeah.
changes and you see how God has blessed you in between all of those trials and that you've been through, even growing with my husband.
Hmm.
So even growing with my husband, learning to be a wife that I never
Yeah.
thought I would be,
Hmm.
learning to be a housewife,
Hmm.
or a wife of a woman of her home,
Sure.
and to make your home with your husband.
Yeah.
That still blows my mind
I
to
know.
today to say that that's who I am.
I know. Isn't that
And
crazy?
I am a married woman.
Hmm. But it's
Mhm.
also a story of like God's redemptive grace. Like I remember sitting with you like not long after your breakup and like having conversations like I don't even know what it's going to look like to follow Jesus. Like I don't even know what that's going to look like to pick the right person. And just kind of
Right.
I don't even remember all that we talked about, but I remember at one point we just said, let's not worry about who and what and where. Let's just like take some time and focus on you and let
Mhm.
God do some stuff in you and then he'll plan that out. I think if the Lord had told you that day, you're no longer going to live that lifestyle. You're never going to be with another woman. You're going to marry a man. You probably would have been like, I don't know about that, Jesus, right? You probably have been
I
like,
did say it.
that's a little too much, right? But to kind of go, let's just take it a step at a time. I actually feel like sometimes that's the advice people should give. Like Christians are so
Mhm.
quick to be like, we shouldn't do this. So let's just switch. But sometimes you actually need to just encourage people to just take steps in the right direction and to
Mhm.
allow the Lord to undo things, right? Because even over the last few years, it's probably been kind of like an undoing, not just
Mhm.
like you came to church and then God did this miracle and then your whole life changed and then you chose a different lifestyle. Like you had to allow this undoing. And I believe that that is the story of God's grace. But I'm actually really glad that we got to kind of walk that journey out together.
We sure did. We
We
sure did.
did. We sure did. Like I look back now and I'm like,
We have so many stories.
it was probably more painful for you because you were in it, right? I was more on the
Yes.
outside, like, I'm here for you, girl. But it also taught me a lot. And that's why we're having conversations like this now for other people. When you were on last time, there were so many people who related to your story,
Mhm.
related to same sex attraction, related to not feeling worthy or loved, or related to being abused and not feeling close with a man. Like a lot of people heard your story and went, oh my gosh, that's me too. And so I love your heart to just be honest and raw and let people even learn through your journey because your journey was painful and your journey took a lot of work. But one of the things I've admired so much, not even at a distance, but being up close, is that you were always willing to share what you were going with because you wanted to help other people who also struggled. And I think that this is why we're in these spaces, is to go, you're not alone. There's other people that have feelings. People serve
Mhm.
Jesus and don't understand how to. And so that's kind of what I wanted to jump in for the second part today is like, you and I have a lot of conversations about, especially kids today, and a lot of people living in gay lifestyles, a lot of people not sure who they're attracted to, what they're not attracted to. And so I kind of want to start with this, and then you can kind of just answer honestly from your heart. So a lot of
Absolutely.
kids really crave like emotional connection, right? But do you
Hmm.
think that sometimes the emotional closeness can get confused with like a romantic attraction, and why we're seeing like a lot of younger ones end up with same sex attraction and connecting in those kind of relationships?
100%. I agree.
Hmm.
And I agree. And I can say this because I was in that.
Yeah,
I can honestly tell you that, again, recapping,
sure.
I wasn't born that way.
Right.
I became that way.
Hmm.
And I remember the first real relationship that I had was because it was somebody that I felt comfortable with that
Yeah,
wasn't going to judge me. And I still struggle with it, but obviously not as much as I used to when I was a young girl.
sure.
But I've always had a lot of insecurities because of my weight.
Hmm.
I was bullied when I was young a lot, and then I had to always fight for myself.
Yeah.
I always had to fight for myself. I always felt because you're fat, you're not enough. Because you're fat, you can't do this. Because you're fat, you can't do that. And although I never limited myself or put my weight up to a certain extent of what I can and cannot do, I was always the first one to try out for play,
Hmm.
or for I was a little dancer and you know, I love to dance and sing. So I was the first one to try out, and I was always the only short, big girl.
Yeah,
So, I
that's
was made
hard.
fun of a lot.
Hmm.
And it was in my Latino community, you always had a nickname, and it was always, gorda, la gorda, or certain things like that, from different things, or Big
Sure.
Mo, or they
Yeah.
would say, oh yeah, do you know Mo? Oh, who? Oh, Big Mo.
Yeah.
So being even though I walk tall, even
Hmm.
back then I would walk tall with my head up high, and
Sure.
I had this tough exterior, but inside I wasn't. I was just this broken girl that wanted to be seen
Hmm.
for who she was and not because of what she looked like.
Come on. Yeah.
So I think there was one time when I've even told you that I've always said that I was the beautiful beast,
Hmm.
because even though I thought that I wasn't, that bad, I was considered like the monster or the beast because I was such a big girl.
Hmm.
So I think that going back to the question was because of that,
Yeah.
I think it was very easy for me to fall into the LGBT because
Hmm.
women see women for who they are mostly
Right.
in their heart.
We're not so
So the
biased by like your
right,
weight or your look. Like we actually see
no,
depth, not just on the outside. Yeah.
no. So the person that I had encountered absolutely just lifted me up on a pedestal
Hmm.
and made me feel that I was the most beautiful creation in the world.
Hmm.
So even though there was not even an attraction there per se,
Hmm.
um, it was an attraction emotionally.
You felt seen. You
I
felt
felt seen, I
validated.
felt wanted, I felt that, of course, and this person, so I think that that is a big issue
Hmm.
back then and
And
now.
it still is today. Yeah. Well, even I love that you talked about like sometimes in families there can even be cultural things. Like I've heard that a lot where families will call someone gorda or gordo, and it's like
Mhm.
it's all done in love, right?
Yeah,
But
it
I think
wasn't to hurt me.
it wasn't to hurt you, but sometimes they'll still plant a seed and we're just like, oh, it's just what everybody calls that person. And you don't realize that over and over and over when somebody says like Big Mo or they say gorda or they say something, even though maybe their intention wasn't to purposely hurt you, they'll still plant little seeds. And I think if we're not
Mhm.
cautious of what's being planted as a kid, you go, maybe I am this, maybe I'm not enough, maybe people only see my weight, like, and those things
Yeah.
actually groom younger people. I mean, think about it. We see behavior and we hear things attached even before we figure out who we are, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so like even growing up, I was always like kind of like the thicker kid of my friends. I was always the chunkier kid. And all it takes is for a couple people to go like, "Oh, you're chunky," or "Oh, you're thick." And it automatically like puts the seed and then you automatically think this is who I am, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
then when somebody else tells you, "Oh, no, you're beautiful," or "Wow, I see you," it like you said, even if it's not for that person you're attracted to, that hits an emotional place where you've been wounded, and it's very easy to
Mhm.
go, that person sees me for who I am. And so we have to be careful even in our homes, like what we call our children, how we talk to them, because
Absolutely.
they absorb all of that.
Mhm, mhm,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So it absolutely an emotional disconnection
Mhm.
attracts that type of lifestyle
Sure.
because a
Sure.
woman will always understand you or another man is always gonna understand you better.
Yeah.
There's a phrase like, "Oh, a woman knows what a woman wants,"
Mhm.
and it is very true,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be in a sexual way.
Right. Right.
You can have those, but it's again the trauma that the child has.
Mhm.
And that's why it's always important to don't judge if you feel that, your child is suffering with identity
Mhm.
issues.
Right.
Find out why.
Yeah.
Find out why, whether it's gay or straight, because identity has to do with identifying as, not being, promiscuous at a young age,
Sure.
whether it be with a male or female.
Right.
And there's a reason why they're seeking that
Mhm.
attention.
Yeah.
So there was a reason why I was seeking the attention of these women
Sure.
because they made me feel important. They made
Mhm.
me feel empowered.
Yep.
And so it automatically, I convinced myself that this is who I was because of that emotional connection.
Connection. Yeah. And it's true. Girls are, and like you said, even guys are the same way. We're built similar, right? In like our
Hmm.
makeup. So, like for example, like when you and I get together, I don't have to explain to you what a mood swing feels when I'm on my girl times. I don't have to explain to you what it feels like to, whatever, have a breakout before you do your makeup. You automatically know those things because you're a female, right? So
Hmm.
you can automatically relate to me in ways that a man can't, and it's not because they're not good enough. They don't know how to, right? And so I
Hmm.
think what I encounter a lot with like younger kids is they'll go, I never really thought about who I liked or I didn't. I just all of a sudden felt like this gender gets me, and it's usually the same one. And they just
Hmm.
understand me. Well, that's normal because you have the same parts. You're made with the similar DNA. Your brain wiring is very similar. And so it's
Hmm.
important to go, am I feeling that connection because emotionally we're on the same page, or do I really actually feel like that's the person that I'm looking for? And I will say this just from my experience with working with a lot of younger kids, 8 out of 10 times, it is just an emotional connection. It's
Hmm.
usually someone going, I felt safe with that person. I felt understood by that person. I felt like
Hmm.
that person saw me. And then over time, I thought, well, maybe I am gay because I feel so close to that person. And then it kind of turned into something. But 8 out of 10 times, it's that emotional connection of them understanding and meeting a need. Let's be honest. If you're in high school, and this is no offense to any of my high schoolers who listen to this, but like a high school boy is not going to understand the wants and the needs of a high school girl, and vice versa, right?
Right,
Like
right.
a ninth grade girl has no idea what's going through a boy's brain and what his hormones feel like, right? And so it's
Hmm.
hard to even explain for someone to feel like they can relate to the opposite sex in that way because they probably won't for a very long period of time.
Right,
But
right.
it's okay to go, I feel connected and close to someone who's of the same sex. Like Monique and I feel extremely connected and we love being around each other. And, even not in a weird way, but like you'll be sitting next to me and I'll like put my hand on your back. Like we have a very healthy relationship with
Hmm.
affection. We have that
Absolutely.
emotional connection, but we don't ever go, oh, is there something else there? We just see it for like, wow, this is a really great, I know, right? Like we've never had that, but we go, this is a really solid friendship. And that person does get me and they understand me. And I think that's where a lot of time the world
Hmm.
gets mixed up is they go, but if I feel safe with her hand on my back and I feel comfortable, that means I'm attracted to her. No, that means that that's a really good friend in your life that you feel emotionally connected to, and that's okay. But the
Right.
world goes right into, well, then you're gay, right? And
Hmm.
if that was the case, then we would all feel that way because we've all felt connected to,
Right.
if you're a man or to another woman. And so, I would even kind of love to kind of preface the second part, like, were there moments for like you when you look back and go, do you really feel like that emotional tie was the thing that opened the door for you? Or was there more of like also a physical thing tied? Like, did you have both or you feel like it was more one or the other out the gate,
I
like in the beginning?
Well, I definitely had both,
Hmm.
and I didn't understand it, but I think it had a lot to do also, when you get, sexually abused,
Sure.
you put up walls
Totally.
in your
And
life,
understandably. Hmm.
and I was sexually abused several times
Yeah.
in different ways. So, I put up a wall since I was
Sure.
a baby. I'm not a baby, I'm saying baby because I was a small young child,
Sure.
and these were walls that I probably didn't even realize that I put up.
Mhm.
I just automatically did.
Yeah.
And I think when you have been in that situation, you either become extremely promiscuous with the opposite sex,
Yep.
or you become,
Sure.
you know, attracted to the same sex because of
Yeah.
safety.
Right. Right.
So I realized that in therapy that I had a sexual trauma,
Hmm.
even as an adult now, that I had this trauma in my head of what sex supposed to be like
Right. Because that was what was introduced to you.
because of these walls that were brought up
Mhm.
because of the sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, you need to get over it." Oh, you do. Obviously, I married a man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I changed my life around.
Yeah.
But there's even certain triggers that if you don't heal from those triggers, you're going to be confused for the rest of your life.
Sure. Sure.
So I think it was those walls where, since a young age, I knew that I felt attracted to a woman because
Hmm.
it made me safe.
Yeah.
So it was easy when I actually decided to come out. It was easy for me to say, "This is what I want," because they make me feel beautiful.
Hmm.
They make me feel wanted. They
Hmm.
make me feel important.
Yeah.
That I never gave a man an opportunity
Right.
to make me feel that way.
Sure. Which is understandable when you don't feel safe and any version of that has violated you.
Mhm,
You get wiring in your brain that goes unsafe, 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 right? And so even
mhm,
if that man that's now standing in front of you didn't do that, your wiring has built those people are unsafe. So then when you have somebody on the opposite side that feels safe for you, it makes sense why even
mhm,
neurologically you go, "Oh yeah, I'm going in this direction." And I
mhm,
think that's where people forget sometimes like because we'll hear things like, oh, someone just goes in a certain direction because they're missing a mom or a dad or they didn't have a good parental role. And I'm sure sometimes those things play into the
mhm,
factors. But
mhm,
any person who's been abused, like you said, sometimes they can either go one way or the other. They can almost, because sex got introduced so early
mhm,
on, they can either tend to feel like that opened up, Pandora's box, so to speak. So then they want to explore and go, or they will feel a signal of that person, depending on what gender it was, hurt me in that area. So that's no longer a safe box. So then I'm only going to go on this side. And again, that's not as something that you woke up in the day and went, how do I feel and what do I want to do? That was out of a response to what was done to you, right? And
mhm,
I think we need to kind of give people more space to understand that, especially as Christians. I think we do a terrible job at approaching people with the Jesus doesn't want that for you. They don't even stop for a second to think about what has happened to you. Like that would be so
mhm,
much of a better
mhm.
conversation. Like, hey, tell me about your life and like what you've been through versus God doesn't want that for you, right? But
Oh
most
yeah, I
people
would have
just
been
are like,
saved a long time ago.
thank you, right? Like
I would have
instead of
been saved a long time ago.
like,
But
like, come on, I don't need you to say you're gonna pray that out of me. Like, I need you to see me. Because even what you started with is you said, I needed someone to see me and to feel safe. That is
mhm,
huge for people today, right? Like to feel
yeah,
needed, but also feel like they can be safe with you.
mhm, mhm,
100%.
absolutely. I even recently, I'll disclose this since I one thing this year I said is that I was going to be very vulnerable because I do feel that the Lord has a big calling on being able to assist somebody with their healing.
Come on.
And in any type of way. It doesn't have
Sure.
to be just LGBT
No.
and abuse and learning your femininity, learning to be a woman.
Yes.
Um,
I wore pink for you today, by the way.
oh, thank you, thank you.
Monique is in her new soft girl era, so she's been wearing pink more. So I wore it in case you
I
didn't wear
wore it
yours.
once.
If you know Monique, she don't ever wear no pink. She is like hardcore blacks and whites, right? But she's in a new season of just enjoying those things, and it doesn't have to be identified as a certain way. It's just what she's coming into.
Yes.
So I love it
Yes,
for you.
and that's a part of it
Hmm.
is we're big advocates on therapy.
Yes, we are.
Therapy has really allowed me to walk in a different type of healing
Come on.
where I have learned so many things about myself and so many things that I have held back
Yeah.
because of the way that I grew up and the way that I chose to be, because nobody
Hmm.
made me be who I was. I
Mm-mm.
chose this.
Yeah.
When you get up to a certain age in your life, you choose what type of woman you want to be.
Yeah.
You're either going to follow the footsteps of what you've learned
Hmm.
or you're going to change your life around.
Yep.
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
It's black or white.
Yeah.
So I chose to hide these certain things because of insecurities, meaning I chose to hide the that softness that wants to come out.
Yeah.
Like, I wanna be, not just yes, I do my makeup, yes, I do my nails, yes, I love pedicures, and
Yeah.
yes, I wear dresses once in a while and things like that, but there's more to that. There's more to just the outside, what you look on the outside to where
Mhm.
your femininity is.
Yeah,
Femininity
absolutely.
doesn't necessarily mean outside,
Yeah.
it's what's in your heart as well.
Can we talk about that for a
So,
minute?
yeah.
Can I interject this? Okay, so I've obviously counseled a lot of women who came out that they were gay to their family, and this is the thing that their family would say, like to girls specifically, right?
Mhm.
You just need to start dressing more girly. So then they would almost force them, like, put on a dress, or if you need to wear makeup. And I would tell them, like, this is not an exterior problem, right? Like, what
No,
would
it's
you
not.
say to a parent who feels like, I'm just going to fix the outside because that's going to fix my child?
Well, I would go back to what I said is that you need to find out where the root is at.
Hmm.
What happened to your child?
Right.
How did they react to something that you've said or something that if there's a father involved or a mother involved or
Yep.
sometimes the father's the only parent
Yeah.
and the girl knows she's a girl and she wants to be with the girl, but she's masculine because
She's
that's all she
never
grew up with.
experienced that. Yeah.
So then she confuses herself, things
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
I my mom is very feminine, but
Yeah.
I grew up in a having to be like the man of the house,
Sure.
the tough guy.
Mhm.
So I took on that role
Yeah.
in my heart.
Mhm.
So even though I still wore my makeup, did my hair, my nails done, my pedicure, wore a dress once in a while, depending on the occasion, I still in my heart
Mhm.
did not feel that I had ever reached my femininity.
Hmm.
So when I got married and I chose and I asked my mom and my dad, what advice would you give me as knowing how to be a wife? I didn't know how to be a wife, and unfortunately my mom had broken relationships as well, so I didn't know her as a Christian woman of God, a
Right.
wife of God,
Right.
because she was also working on that. And my father, he's not Christian, so he would not be a Christian
Man example.
man of God.
Right.
So I would tell them, I had to learn as an in my late age how am I supposed to be?
What that looks
What
like.
what does it look like to be
Mhm.
a Christian
Yeah.
wife? What does it look like to step into my femininity and allow my husband to be the head of the household, to be the
Yeah.
masculine role of my household,
Mhm.
and me not be that masculine man of the household, even though, I was a female.
Yeah.
So learning to do that was very difficult.
Yeah. I can't even
It was
imagine.
it still is. Like I said, I've been married 6 years now, and
Mhm.
I'm just learning
Yeah.
after therapy. I'm just learning to walk in freedom where I'm embracing to
Mhm.
be a full, complete woman,
Yeah.
to walk in that femininity with my heart, with my mind, with my body, with my soul,
Yeah.
and it's on a whole different level.
Sure. But that takes time too, because
Mhm,
you just said it like you lived your whole life kind of having to be the man of the household, right? That was
mhm,
survival. So
mhm,
even your demeanor and things that you've been your entire life have been groomed for that. Now you've made this decision to honor the Lord and you're making this change, but you still have all those things inside of you that goes, this is who I am, right?
mhm,
And I love that
mhm,
you're saying like it's still unfolding. Again, that
mhm.
goes back to like you can't make a change overnight.
Nope.
Sometimes it's just taking a day at a time. Like, hey, it's okay to let your man do that for you. You don't have to do it. Or, hey, like, if you want to wear pink today, you can. Like, I mean, it's not, we don't go buy you like everything pink. We don't go crazy and try to
No, 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 no,
make you
no.
something, right? Like, I
Yeah.
think that's why, like, when I was in that question, like, I was telling parents, like, you can't just paint something and go, it's fixed. You have to
No.
allow an unfolding of the Lord. And this is the kicker. I would rather see somebody who has struggled and is trying to transition in their lifestyle still look tomboy or however they're not, opposite of what the
Mhm.
Christian community would want, and yet be doing the work, be like going through the past that they've worked through, being honest to who they are. It's an
Yeah.
inward thing that then gets
Mhm,
expressed outward. Everything that we show on the outside is an expression of the stuff that we're facing on the inside, right? If you don't
mhm,
feel good about
mhm,
yourself, you're going to be frumpy and have big hoodies on and like not want people to see you. When you feel confident, you're going to start thinking about your outfits and wanting to put more effort in. Like, people forget that we make these judgments off of what we see on the outside. We don't even give the Lord time for people to really heal and to like come into that, right? But I love
hmm
that you even said, like, it took time. I'm still learning how to be something that my whole brain was not wired to do, you know? And
Right.
that also takes surrender to Jesus and also finding people who can help teach you in the midst of it. Because
hmm
if you've never seen it modeled, I'm sure that is very difficult, right?
It is. It is. It's very difficult. It definitely is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what across the board,
Mhm.
you're always a work in progress.
Come on, me too.
You're always a work in progress. You
Yep.
can always do something to better yourself,
Yep.
but you're gonna do one thing at a time.
Mhm.
One thing at a time. Let God work
Yes.
in you one thing at a time. He knows an amazing woman called Miss Gina Holly.
I like
Gave
her
me
a
a
little
gave
bit.
it gave me a word one day, and she said, I'm probably gonna butcher it a little bit, but it came around something. She said, "The Lord works on you accordingly."
Mhm.
There's some people who are going to accelerate and and
Yeah.
and they're calling and they're gonna climb up that ladder super fast.
Mhm.
And there's gonna be some people that are gonna go one step at a time.
Yeah.
And both of them are valid.
Yep.
Both of them are valuable.
Mhm.
Both of them are important.
Yeah.
So don't think whether you're young
Mhm.
or, young adult or an older person that you have to go at a certain speed because of your age
Come on.
or a certain type of way because that's what people are put you on this pedestal that you have to do. No,
Yeah.
you're doing this for yourself.
Yes.
You're not doing it for anybody else.
Mm-mm.
You seek your validation, your worth,
Mhm.
your whole value in the Lord. Just
Yep.
you and the Lord,
Yep.
nobody else.
Yeah.
So when everybody else is not there, you still feel complete and whole
Yep. Yep.
in the Lord
Yeah. And you're right. It'll happen accordingly to
accordingly.
where you're at, what you emotionally can handle,
hmm
um, according to how much work you're willing to put in. You know, like there's
hmm
some people who go, I can't do that much at one time. Okay, then just take one step at a time and see what the
hmm
Lord will do. And then there's
hmm
some people who are like, I'm ready to just be all in, let's get it done, right? And it
hmm
might be different paces, but we're not racing against each other. Like your job is to identify who you are with the Lord and to find healing and where you're at with Him and then to move forward. As long as you're doing that in any aspect, you don't need to look at Monique or I or somebody else and go, oh, they're faster than me or they're far. Like, no, 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 we're all on our own journey. Like, we
hmm
need to just not compare ourselves and allow the Lord to just undo, or even, even if you had a healthier lifestyle or were raised in good homes. There's tons of things that now I'm getting ready to turn 40. There are tons of things in the last 5 years I've had to undo. Not that I was taught bad, but just undo that I had learned, that I picked up from society, that things I've seen.
hmm
And I'm having to retrain my brain to undo that. We're all in a process of having to
Absolutely.
learn. But as we surrender that to the Lord, He so gracefully kind of walks us through those things. But I think we
hmm
also just have to be more real and we have to be more honest. And so I know even the other day I don't remember where we were going. We were going somewhere and you and I were kind of talking about how much, like, even in today, so many of the kids, specifically kids, but even adults, are so influenced today just by
hmm
society, by the way that culture presents these things. Right now, there's a lot of curiosity. Back
hmm
in the day, a lot of things were taboo. Today, it's like, let's put
So
all these
open.
options and just see
hmm
what you want, right? So I feel like it's even accelerated people's curiosity, which again is not a bad thing. Curiosity is something God's given us. It's just sometimes we get piqued with the wrong things, curiosity wise, and we like jump in.
Right.
But you and I were even talking about like how back in the day it might have just been like LGBT. Now we have like LGBTQ plus, I think is where we're sitting right now.
Yes. My goodness.
Which is kind of crazy, which means like there's even more past the plus, right? I think they got so many terms they didn't even know how to keep adding them, so they just went with the plus.
I know.
But do you feel like that has also had an effect on people, even in all generations today? Because now there's so many different things you can be. It's not even just like, are you gay, are you straight? It's like, there's so many variations. Like,
A
there's things like
cat, a dog,
you could
a
be a
horse.
cat, you can be a dog. A big one right now is like you can be pansgender, which means you can wake up every day and whatever
And
you
choose.
decide, whoever you love, you can
hmm
choose. You can be bisexual. There's all these options options, right? But because we've expanded as the world, like so many of these options, do you also feel like it creates a space where people feel like it's almost being presented to them as an option of like, which
100%.
one do you want to choose? And so then sometimes they're jumping into it almost because it's like a cool thing or it's trendy. Will we talk about that for a minute?
Yes, absolutely. I honestly feel that the enemy created the most delicious looking gold platter of desserts.
Yeah.
That's how I see it,
Yeah.
to serve to whoever is vulnerable to eat
Yep. Yeah.
out of these amazing desserts.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it that way because even though something looks like it's good and you want to eat it, doesn't mean that it's good for you.
Come on. Yeah.
And again, it could be straight, gay, bisexual, trans,
Whatever.
doesn't matter. I
Mm-hmm.
respect everyone. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
judging.
Sure.
But this is my truth.
Mm-hmm.
Even though a sin tastes good and looks good, doesn't mean that it's good.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not teaching and being open and allowing our children to speak to us
Yeah.
openly about their sexuality,
Right.
and even if that's not sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
if my child came up to me and told me, "Mom, I want to talk to you about my friends and things that are going on in school. Can you please, like, why are they like that? Can you explain it to me?"
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's so many parents out there that want to shut it down,
Yeah. Yep.
and they're so hardcore. They think they're these hardcore Christians and they don't want to talk about that subject.
Or
Why are you
don't
even
hang out with
thinking
those
about?
friends. You just can't talk to them no more.
Yes,
They're
because
they're
like if it's
everywhere.
gonna rub off, like if it's gonna rub off on you,
Right. And they're
just
surrounded by
be.
thousands of students and everyone has got their own
Hmm.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And they forget that they misuse the words love is love.
Hmm.
I think that those words are very misused, and they say,
Yeah.
well, God is love, absolutely.
100%.
And he's gonna love you no matter what you choose, pansexual, gay,
Yeah.
lesbian, it doesn't
His
matter
love
if
is
you
still
want to
there.
be a dog, a cat, God
He
still
still
loves you.
loves
He
you.
made you.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
do you really love yourself that way?
Yeah.
And who do you have to speak to about these things?
Hmm.
And that's why
Yeah.
us as Christians, as mentors to these young children, we
Mhm.
have to be open. And
Yes,
parents,
ma'am.
please be open to
Yeah.
listen without judgment.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I say this because I've seen this a lot with our youth at church, where they have told me, before I even open my mouth and I talk, I'm already getting judged for asking the question.
Right. Right.
And all I could say
They
is,
don't feel safe. They don't feel
no,
safe to
they
talk
don't feel
about those
safe to
things.
ask about those questions.
Right. So they go to
And
YouTube or their friends or the internet
mhm,
and that just tells them these are all the options. You should consider them.
absolutely.
This is who you are. Mhm.
Yes. So they're so
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
They're so confused about what love is love means.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that phrase right there is so misused.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Love is love, but not in the way that everybody is making
Right.
it sound or say or be.
Sure.
So we
Sure.
have to, us as older people, really need to step into the young adults and these youth
Yep.
children.
Yeah.
And yes, love on them 100%, but be
Yep.
open to have these conversations with no judgment.
And without freaking out.
Yes, without freaking out.
Yeah. Because I think that's what scares most parents is I think people go, what if my kid comes home and asks me about something that I don't know or something I don't want for them? I don't think I can handle that. Well, how are you going to handle when nobody talks to them about it and they choose it for themselves? And then it's an
Mhm,
inevitable and it's so far past the conversation phase. Now they've
mhm,
chosen it and they're in that lifestyle. And then you're trying to like fix it, right? Instead of
yeah,
just going, I should be, as a parent, I should be a safe space at all times for my kids to go, I can talk about whatever I need to, even little things like, um, I mean, even little things like we were just saying, okay, like we know we were talking about I like practicals, like you and I, right? We're friends, right? Let's say one day you put your hand on my back and you kind of rub it, like just out of friendship, right? What if, and this is just scenario, right? But
mhm,
what if
mhm,
one day I go, oh, that felt kind of nice, right? Some kids experience stuff like that and they don't know how to process that. So they shove it down because they feel this shame. Oh no, I liked that one of my friends
mhm,
touched my back today. I must be having feel it, right? And instead of going to a parent and going, hey, when my friend did that today, I felt this, like, what is that, right? And then as a parent, you could go, well, let's talk about that. Like, You've probably not had a lot of affection, or you're not used to someone else touching you. You felt safe with that person. They showed you
Mhm.
affection. You're growing. You have hormones. You have sensory all over your body. You're going to learn that. It doesn't mean that that's just a draw to that person. You just are recognizing these things, right? But most parents are like, what do you mean? Why is she touching you? You shouldn't be putting your arm around your friend, right? And they shut it
Exactly.
down. And then there's not even space to even process. Like, it's very normal for anybody to feel certain things just because we do have like sensory all over our body. We do have things that feel good, right? And so
Mhm.
sometimes we have to like have people in spaces we can have those conversations with. And I see that all the time. Like, kids are so
Yes.
fearful of even expressing something, it becomes hidden. And the hidden things, that's where the enemy like goes to freaking town, right? Because
Right.
then they're just influenced by their friends. And the culture today is like, love's love. So we just love you and be who you're going to be. And the next thing you know, you're down like a road that you never thought that you would be. And so I think that's a really valid statement. Like, people need to create more space. What would you say to parents though who say like, but I don't know what to tell them? Like, they don't feel
But
experienced enough to answer those questions. Like, what would you tell them?
so look for someone that can tell
There
them.
you go. There you go.
Look for someone that can tell them.
Yeah.
I don't know what their life would be like, but I know the people that surround us.
Mm-hmm.
There's some who find shame in
Mm-hmm.
talking to us about what their kids do or don't do, even though we already know before they do.
Yeah.
Um, but they find shame. Don't be ashamed.
Mm-mm.
Parents, don't feel shame
No.
for reaching out to someone that you know can speak to your kid, and
Yeah.
don't feel insecure
Mm-hmm.
because you should be able to speak to your kid. Because I've encountered that also,
Yeah.
where a parent would be like, "Well, I got it because I
Mm-hmm.
need to handle it,
Yeah.
and that's why I haven't came up to you or I didn't tell you."
Yeah.
But then you're telling me after because you didn't
You
have
wanna
it.
you wanna have it fixed, yeah, and that's the thing too is you can't your child is gonna make mistakes in life in general, we all did, right? If we can take off the level of 10 on when it's something that is sexual, whether they're sleeping with their boyfriend or girlfriend or they're choosing a different lifestyle,
Mhm.
if we can take off the, like, "Oh my god, like, it's a level 10," there's no such thing as, like, a level 10 sin, right? If we can take that off and
Mhm.
go, "It's a sin, we all fall short," right? And
Mhm.
we can go, "If I don't know what to say, God has put people around me who can." Come on, we all have a someone at church or a youth pastor, even a friend or maybe an auntie or
Right.
somebody who could also go, "Hey, so and so's going through this right now. We're trying to help them. Do you have some advice?" Listen, when you let shame go, it actually allows the Lord to put community around you, to show up in places where they can support your child and be there for you. But I totally agree with you. I see this
Mhm.
tons of times where either the kids feel like they get shut down so they won't say anything, or they'll get in trouble, or parents don't want to admit that their kid's not perfect, so then
Right.
they just pretend that they've handled it. And handling it is not telling your kid that's not what God wants for them. You have to explain to children how to walk that out. Like, I don't
Mhm.
tell kids don't just go sleep with your boyfriend and girlfriend. I talk to them about their hormones, their body, why they feel like they want to have sex, what happens when you're a girl and some guy touches your neck and you feel something. Like, I walk them through the process. I don't just go, Jesus says no. And I think that's where we've missed it is, you know what I mean? Like, we've
100%.
missed it. Like, no, this is what we don't do. And we should be going, okay, well, let me talk to you about why you would want to. Let
Mhm.
me talk to you about what's happening, right?
Yeah, my
Use
point
people
exactly.
around you. Yeah. Like, use people around you. Like,
Mhm.
this is the kicker. There are lots of resources in the world. And God did not promise us it would always be perfect, like,
No,
it's not always going to be easy, but you also can't let shame hinder your child. You
no,
cannot let fear hinder your child from getting the support that they need. And the truth is they'll probably find somebody inevitably, but is it going to be the right person? Is it going to be the right person to be there for them? And you can actually be the one to
right.
point them in that direction. You get people all the time who are
Mhm.
like, "Hey, can you talk to Mo because they know your testimony, and it's beautiful."
Right.
But I'm also thinking there's a lot of us that can learn from you and others and also be extensions of that. And
Mhm.
there's still even times, I'll come to you like, "Hey, girl." Like, I won't say names because I never, disclose
Of course
people, but
not.
I'm
Mhm.
like, "Hey, girl, I had somebody. What do you think?" And you'll
Mhm.
give me advice so that I can help the person that I'm helping, right? Like, that's a part of
Mhm.
resourcing community, to help people grow. But we live in a season where it's going to be confusing. Like, you don't always have the answers. I don't always have the answers, right? But we
Mhm.
also trust the Holy Spirit. And so I love that. I love that your heart is for people to just kind of get over themselves and help.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
I love it.
That can
I
sound a
love it.
little harsh sometimes, but
No, but this is the
and I
kicker
say it
is
to
like,
myself. I say it
yeah,
to myself as well.
yeah. Well,
So,
and I'll be completely honest too. Like, I'm trying to think, how long have we known each other? Like 10 years now, something like that,
no,
roughly.
I've been saved 12.
Okay, so like 12
So
years,
I'm gonna
right?
say 12 years.
Previous to our friendship, I didn't have a lot of understanding of the community. I didn't because I wasn't around a lot of people like that, right? And
Mhm.
I can say now, like, if you would have met me previously, I probably wouldn't have been able to be a resource for people like I am today. But that's because I also learned and I had a lot of hard and uncomfortable questions, even with you and other people. And so the Lord has given me greater tools to do that, right? I want to like affirm people who feel fearful or like they don't know. It's not that all of us have been here. We also did the work to learn and to read books and and ask the Holy Spirit how to connect us with people. Like it's not whether you have the answers or not. It's whether you'll put in the work to use the resources that God has given you. But
Absolutely.
somebody who is confused, somebody who is in a struggle of trying to figure out who they are, needs to get real with somebody. And if it can't be
Yes.
you, that's going to put your child at a really big disadvantage. And so I'll just leave with this. Like, do you have any like final thoughts on just like how we can help people as a whole? Maybe even like, let's do it this way. Let's paraphrase it this way. As a Christian community, whether we have kids or not, right? How can we better come alongside people who are going through a season of confusion or are testing the boundaries and are not sure if they have same sex attraction or not? Like, how can we practically do better as a community to make space for them to still come to Jesus?
I think listen without condemnation.
Love it.
Listen without condemnation because some of us just needed to be heard
Yeah.
and just needed to be loved no matter what.
Yeah.
Because your sexuality, whether it's either you're promiscuous in the street with a male or female,
Yeah.
doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Sexuality is sexuality. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have a specific, definition.
Yeah.
But I think just, to be heard and to be loved unconditionally
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't identify you. Before I identified as a certain word,
Yeah.
and now I'm just Monique.
And just Monique.
I'm not
Mm-hmm.
I don't put a title on me. So
Yeah.
I would not put a title on anybody else. I have
Right.
amazing friends that are still in the community. I
Sure.
know some amazing people that are still in the community.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to listen to this and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't feel that I've ever made anybody feel because I changed my life that they were less important
Right. You didn't devalue
because
them just because they didn't
no,
share the same
and
beliefs.
I'm
Right.
not going to. So please
Mm-mm.
do not devalue
Mm-hmm.
a person because of their
Their choices.
sexuality that
Yeah.
is none of your business.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
walk Jesus like and we have to
Mm-hmm.
love as
Yep.
Jesus would love us.
Yep.
And if they're not flaunting their sin
Mm-hmm.
and you're not flaunting yours,
Yeah.
then just love each other
Yeah.
and listen.
Yeah.
Listen, just be there. Be that
Absolutely.
example of what it looks like to
Yep.
love somebody unconditionally or to just
Wholeheartedly.
just treat whoever as a human being, as a person.
Right.
Don't give
Right.
them a title.
Mm-mm.
I'm just Mo.
You're just Mo, yeah. And I think that's the what Jesus would do. Like we're really big on Jesus is the one that does the work, right? I mean, obviously we
Mhm,
believe the Bible, we believe God what God wants, but we also know people have their journey to get there. And so I learned really quickly that I can't change somebody and I can't fix them, but I can keep
mhm,
leading them to Jesus and I can also
mhm,
continue to be Jesus to them where they
mhm,
go, you don't even completely agree with what I'm doing, but you still treat me well. Of course, it's
mhm,
my
mhm,
job to be Jesus to you, right? And I think we
mhm,
have an opportunity to be better to people and to show them what Jesus looks like instead of being harsh and critical. And like you just said, pointing out their sin that's visible or that we don't like or we don't agree with versus the massive things that we all struggle with on the inside that nobody can
100%,
see. It would be
100%.
so much better for us to go, we're all running after Jesus together and we're going to keep loving Jesus together. And if you
Mhm,
get close to Jesus, he will show you things. He will convict your heart. He will help
mhm,
us all grow, right? But I
mhm,
love that you said it. We need to listen to people. We need to make space for people. We need to be really safe little havens so that people can be honest about where they're at. And so I pray today that if you're listening to this you would be reminded that we are all on a journey. We're all figuring it out. There's no judgment from this podcast, but we also want to be real that Jesus can transform a life that you think there's no way out of a situation. Monique is a living testimony of that. And
Yes,
even though
ma'am.
even she said she's still in a journey, I believe this that God is wanting more people to be able to start their journey towards not just changing their sexuality, maybe, but even just towards healing, towards
Mhm.
coming into wholeness, towards getting out of things that have caused them to make decisions just out of their trauma, and really coming into discovering who they are before they even identify as anything, right? And
100%.
out of that, the Lord will lead people closer. And so our heart is that you will be encouraged today that no matter where you're at or what you're struggling with, there's a God who sees you and loves you, and that it takes us all time to get there, but just keep moving forward and get around people who you can get real with and watch what the Lord will do in your life. So,
Amen. Amen.
amen, girl.
Amen.
Well, thank you for coming back on. You know, I love
Thank
you
you for
so
having
much.
me.
Of
Thank you for having me
course.
again.
Of course. Hey, we loved it last time.
Appreciate you.
We had some good reviews. People were like, "Whoa, that was an interesting one." I'm like, "Yeah, we be keeping it real, me and Monique."
100%. That's the only way
All
we
the
should
time.
keep it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I love you, friend, so much, and I
I love you
appreciate
too.
all that you are. Thank you for being such an open testimony of what Jesus can do, and thank you for also helping people along the
You're
way because
welcome.
we need a lot of people like you in this world.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you. I
welcome.
appreciate you guys.
All right, break the box. That's what we got for you today. I hope you got some good nuggets. I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.